Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, last week I got an email from a viewer asking if I wanted to buy their 2013 Seat LeonFR diesel. And I quite like these cars. I've had a few of them and they always seem to sell quite well. To be honest, as soon as I read the guy's description, I thought, I've got to buy this. The description just sounded really genuine. He said that he'd owned it for a good number of years, he'd serviced it well, it was on 4 matching Michelin PS4s or something, which is always a good indication that someone's maintained a car without worrying about money. I think he said he'd had the cam belt replaced as well, so it all sounded really good. It isn't without its faults though, he was quite honest about those as well. He said the front bumper needed to be resprayed because it was starting to flake, and possibly the bonnet. The bonnet was covered in stone chips. He also said that the rear brake discs and pads needed to be replaced, and there were a few other bits as well, but generally it sounded like quite a good thing. When I did some research, it had a trade price of around £3,700, but bear in mind that's based on good condition, and I thought with this needing a little bit of paint and rear brake discs and pads, I'm probably going to spend £600 or £700 on it, so I offered £3,000 and he accepted. I thought £3,000 was quite a fair bid really. I thought if I ended up overspending a little bit, and let's be honest, I do have form, if I spent maybe £1,000 on this, I'm pretty sure it's a £6,000 car. So there promises to be a fairly healthy profit margin, but I don't want to get too carried away. We all know what happens when I count my chickens before they've hatched. The seller kindly dropped it off for me at the garage, and unfortunately I wasn't there. I was out picking up cars, so I didn't get a chance to meet him. And it also means I haven't actually seen the car yet. I have seen some photographs of it though by email, and it does look quite good. I mean, they're a good looking car anyway, but this is a 3-door, so it looks even sportier, and it's in bright red. It just suits the car really well. Anyway, I thought today we could go and have a look around this together and see what it's like. See if there's any profit in it for me. Right, I'll see you there. Well, we're here. Looks pretty good actually. I think I've got some profit here, ladies and gents. They're a really good looking car those, aren't they? I'd forgotten. This is a fact, I knew about it, but I'd forgotten. It's got the panoramic glass roof, which is quite a big option, I think, if it works. It's a VW group car, isn't it? So it probably doesn't work. Oh, the old Wonder Grip van's here. You know, that van must be on like 0 miles. It never moves. Yeah, I see what he means now about the front bumper. It could be just touched in there, but I think it wants painting properly. It's obviously been painted before, and it's starting to peel. But it looks really good, that. It does carry that colour quite well. It's crying out for a new set of reg plates, which we know a guy that can deal with that, don't we? Right then, as always, let's check it out using Car Vertical. Now, I have actually done this before. I did it before agreeing to buy it, but that was a few days ago, so let's just refresh my memory. It was all clear though. So all you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg or the VIN. In this case it is DK Donkey Kong 63 Uniform November Bravo. Check. May as well knock my engine off in case Greta's watching. There we go, this won't take a minute. It's currently checking databases in dozens of countries and it checks hundreds of millions of cars. And it'll tell us whether it's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. Now, I already know this to be clear, but in addition to that, it also shows us the MOT history. Sometimes it shows you photographs of the car as well. I had this recently with I think it was on a Mercedes C-Class. It found the previous advert from when it was sold to the last owner. It's especially helpful if it's been involved in an accident, because sometimes it has pictures of the damage, which is quite good. Quite good to know, really, isn't it? There we go, the report's ready. By the way, if you want to do one of these checks for yourself, and I urge you to do so before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike, then use my promo code HIGHPEAK and you save yourself 10% off each and every check that you do. That's not just a one-time thing, by the way. You can just keep using that promo code forever and a day. Right, view report. So, it is a 2013 Seat LeonFR diesel. Never been stolen, never had a mileage rollback, no outstanding finance, and there's no recorded damage. I think it's done 107,000 miles. The last MOT was done in March this year. That took me a worrying amount of time, didn't it, to figure out that the 3rd month is March. So the last MOT was done in March this year, and it done 106. So fairly steady every single year. That's fine, nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. That sort of mileage on one of these doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, don't forget it's 10 years old now. It's tax band B, which means it's, I think, 20 quid to tax, so nice and cheap. And that engine, that'll do, what will it do, 60 miles per gallon easily. Underneath that pretty Spanish styling, it's basically a Golf. Sounds like a Golf. It is a Golf. So the ownership changed in 18. It's had a private plate. It was inspected. Right, okay. The previous plate was WTF. What the flip? Right, I think we know enough. Let's go and have a look around it. The other good thing with this car is we've got both sets of keys, and they're exactly like you'd find on a Golf. Look at that. The set badge gets popped out and the VW one gets placed. Right, quite a cold day today. It looks pretty good though, doesn't it? It sits well, looks very sporty. I like the wheels. Don't really need to check these tyres because I know they're matching. And they're not some obscure Chinese brand either. They're Michelin, from the guy that brought you the restaurants. He was right about the brake discs. I would say those back plates look like they've been under the sea. So the tyres there are on about 4 mil. I like all the pointiness to Seats. I like the pointy indicators and the pointy mirrors. Quite a sharp, precise design. We've got a Michelin up front on about 5 or 6 mil, that's pretty good. And the front brake disc is fine. Right, how bad's this bumper then? Oh yeah, that's not good, is it? I can see the overspray here on this light. Somebody has painted this bumper who I don't think has much experience in bodywork. I think they might be a greengrocer or a butcher. Yeah, it's all flaking here. I think they did their apprenticeship at Dewhurst. Right, this definitely needs painting and repairing properly. Got paint everywhere now. I'm wearing nail varnish. This bonnet though is very flat, like it needs a good buff. But I think with a decent buff that would come up. There's a couple of little stone chips, but nothing major. Yeah. This is the other thing with red cars, they always seem to fade. How many times have you seen a Royal Mail van or especially Vauxhalls actually, an old Corsa that's now a dusty pink colour where it was once red. The rest of the panels look alright though. Another Michelin there with plenty of meat on the bone. Little scuff there, but that'll come out. Nice panoramic roof. Yeah, this is alright. Well, I'm thinking maybe a couple £100 to repair that front bumper. Maybe another 150 to buff the whole car. And it would look the part, wouldn't it? I've got matching plates, but they do need to be replaced. I can do a couple of little touch-ins myself. Hey, guess what? The gardener's bin. Right. We've got one key that doesn't work. That's not a flying start, is it? But another that does. Oh, we've got full leather as well. Actually didn't know that. Small little rip there on the side of the seat. That could be mended. I could get my upholstery guy on that. Smells nice and clean. Ah, it'll be that Magic Tree new car scent. Smells nice. We've got a sound system, powerful mirrors, which are heated as well. It's quite a good spec. They do lots of like packs with this car, so I'm guessing this has got like the technology pack or something like that. Yeah, it's all very good. With it being the FR, it is a bit sportier, so you've got a nice flat bottom steering wheel. Wow, it's cold today. Locking wheel nut. This is all as described, really. I can tell he's looked after it. What would have been there? Not sure. Anyway, I think the paperwork must be at work because there's nothing in this at all. Would have liked to check the service history out. A Q Park permit there. No, it's quite a nice clean car, this. Let's put the ignition on, see what the mileage is. 107, so it's only done about 500 miles since its last MOT. Half a tank of diesel. I'm just draining my battery now, aren't I? Let's have a look under the bonnet. That seal wants to be put back properly. Tell you what, there is no end to my skill. so we're into a seat repair there and a good clean. Quite a bit of condensation, but then it was frosty overnight, so that could well be just frost. Oh, we've got a broken, oh, he told me about this actually. That was one of the other things. The clips on the parcel shelf's broken. So we need to order, it's broken there and on the actual thing itself. I'll have to order that from Seat, I think. It's a pity that Seat are stopping making cars. They're just branching off. They're doing the Cupra, or they're making Cupra its own brand. The actual Seat brand is going to be put out to pasture, which is a bit of a shame. And if you've ever been to Spain, I don't know what they'll buy, because they're very loyal, even though it's German now. Spaniards are very loyal to the Seat brand. It's quite a nice car, this. It isn't often I buy something so clean, as you well know. Right, there's the engine. The old Volkswagen Audi Group 2-litre diesel. Let me just put my bonnet up. Why don't they just have a gas strut like a lot of other cars? I could do with checking the service history to see when it was last serviced. Can't quite remember what he told me now. I mean, that oil looks black, but it is a diesel and it goes black immediately. No mayonnaise there, which is good. That, by the way, is about the standard amount of mayo, which is just the difference in temperature between the red hot engine. Can't have that, I'm afraid. Yeah, the standard amount between the red hot engine and the cold exterior, you always get a little bit. It's all quite honest, isn't it? An original. Yeah, very good, right. Let's fire her up then. Get those heated seats on. So, I like the way the gauges fire around like a Porsche. It was a little bit reluctant then to start, but it is a cold morning. Right, get those turned up. Well, there's not much else to show you in here, is it? It's all quite complete. Got a 6-speed manual with the old parking permit. Got some old receipts here. A gym membership card. I'll have to email him and see if he wants that back. Windows work. A little feather there, so someone's watching over me. What have we got here then? We've got sat nav.
Big honours this season. Big
Radio 5 Live. Does my sat nav work? Yeah, it does. This is a nice car, you know. Quite pleased with this. Yeah, I like it. Does my sunroof open? Dare I open the sunroof on this cold day? Just expecting to get a load of water, frosty, icy water down my back. I would say, look at that. They're working perfectly well. Never a doubt in my mind. Should we take this for a drive then? See how it performs. Right then, my heated seat's getting nice and warm. My seated heat. I think we'll turn off Radio 5 Live. I went to the City Liverpool game yesterday, so I don't really want to be reminded of that. That's one of my front parking sensors going berserk as I approach the Wonder Grip van. How do I turn that off? Oh, there we go. The button with P written on it. This feels nice actually. Straight away I can tell you it feels quite solid. Clutch is quite abrupt. Got Go on, I'll let you go. Are you going or not? Come on. Right, well, I'm quite pleased with this so far. I need to swing by the office and check on the service history. There's no point me paying to get it done again if it's been done recently. Saying that, it was MOT'd in March, wasn't it? Oh, those are winding me up. I'm going to have to get those checked out. Saying that, when they repaint the front bumper, I'm going to have to get the parking sensors out, I imagine. Is anyone going to let me go or not? Cheers. Well, she pulls. This for me was like peak diesel. 2 litre turbo diesel, I think it's like 170 horsepower, if not slightly higher. Capable of 60 miles per gallon, cheap tax, all that sort of stuff. You can see why people bought them. It seems then that as soon as I slow down, my parking sensors come back on. Which is good, but they're a little bit of a backseat driver, aren't they? I've got my locking wheel nut there rolling around. It feels strong though, this. The gearbox feels precise, my clutch is good. I think what I'm going to do then, because it was MOT'd in March, I'll check the history first, but I assume it was serviced in March as well. We're now in November, nearly December, so I shall run it to my mechanics, get them to give it a service, an MOT with no advisory items. I'll get the mechanical bits done first, and then I'll take it to Jimmy the Magician. Ask him to paint the front bumper, buff the whole car, do some touch-ins, then it'll need a good valet, I suppose, and I should have a 5995 retail car here. Not bad. Not bad at all. Right. Let me do that then, because there's not much else to report. Everything's pretty good. I'm just hoping that in 6 months' time I don't finish this video and say I've massively overspent. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? Oh, does my rear wiper work? Now, I've not tried this, but it is quite a common issue on the Audi A3. Oh, yes. Perfect. I quite like this. I sold one of these, a white LeonFR diesel estate, to my best mate about a year or two ago. All right, I can see there's a van there. He had it for about a year and then bought an Audi A6 and then sold that to his dad, who's still got it to this day. Every time I see it, I think it's a good looking car, that, especially when the LEDs are on. Really sharp lines and everything. Anyway, I'm talking nonsense now. I shall catch up with you later on. Cheers, guys. And we're back in the Seat LeonFR, and it's all finally prepared and ready for sale. I think I've had a bit of a result with this car because there were no nasty surprises, which is unusual. It's made me realise that the car's actually been well looked after. After we last spoke, I took it down to my mechanics for a service, an MOT with no advisory items, and I asked them to replace the rear brake discs and pads. If you remember, they were quite badly lipped and corroded, so I knew they'd need to be replaced. But my mechanic discovered that the front discs and pads need to be replaced as well. But apart from that, my mechanic said that everything on the car was alright. Great success. I ordered some new reg plates for it because the old ones were starting to look a bit scruffy, and I also ordered some tailored car mats. The old ones were looking a bit tired, particularly the driver's one. In fact, the driver's mat had a hole in it from the previous owner's heel. I also ordered the new clip thing for the parcel shelf. If you remember, it had completely sheared off. So I've ordered that, but I'm still yet to find the little piece that goes onto the string. I can't seem to get hold of one of those anywhere. So the parcel shelf, unfortunately, isn't 100% fixed. It's better than it was, but still not quite there. Then I took it to the body shop because the front bumper had been repainted by somebody who I don't think did it for a living. It started to peel as well and just looked a bit of a mess. While it was down there, I asked them to buff the whole car because the whole car looked a little bit flat, particularly the bonnet. A couple of days later, I picked it up from there, and this is the result. It looks really good. Unfortunately, because of the previous repair on the front bumper, they'd got overspray on the headlamps, and there's not an awful lot I can do about that. But now, at least, it looks quite tidy. And the bonnet that was once flat and dull now has a nice deep shine to it. That cost me £295 for the total job, which I think was a bit of a bargain. Then I asked Phil, the upholstery guy, to come out and have a look at the driver's seat. It was ripped on the base of the seat, right on the edge. It wasn't bad, but I thought, I'm going to ask top dollar for this car, so I need it to be right. He came out, lifted the seat out, took it back to his workshop, and then the next day he called me to say, right, do you want the upright part of the seat bolster fixing as well? It's got a slight rip in it, and because these seats are quite hugging, quite buckety, the foam had deteriorated. So he replaced the foam as well and patched it up, and now it looks as good as new. I think when you're selling anything, whether it's cars or properties or whatever, I think attention to detail is key. When the seat was back in it, I took it over to the lads at Tameside Valeting for a full detail clean, and it came up looking really good. I got it back to work, screwed on the new reg plates myself, and fitted the mats. Can you believe that? Basically a mechanic. And then I took some nice photographs of it, and it's currently on the website. You know what's weird? When I actually loaded this onto my Auto Trader dealer portal system and loaded all the spec, because it is quite a high spec car, this, with its sunroof and its heated leather seats and its sat nav and all that sort of stuff, it suggested its retail price was around 7,000 quid. I thought this was going to be a 5.5 to 6 grand car, but it suggested 7. So who knows? They're the experts, aren't they? That's why I pay them so much money every single month. So what I've done here is advertise this for 6,995, so it should leave me a very healthy profit actually on this occasion. I expect I've spent around £1,000 on it. I haven't worked it out fully yet, but, well, may as well do it now, hadn't we? Let me just find somewhere nice and safe to park up. I'll go through my costs. By the way, I think I've still got some more money to spend on this car. At the start of this video, I thought, I must have got confused with something else. I thought the cam belt had been replaced. Then when I was actually going through the paperwork for the last service receipts, or the last couple of service receipts, it says something like, cam belt due if it hasn't been done already. And I must have just quickly glanced at that and thought that it had been done. So I think it needs to be done. What I might do actually is email the previous owner and see if he's had it done. If he hasn't, then I'm going to have to run it down to my mechanics next week and get that done. I expect that'll be about £350, 400 maybe. Everything's gone up. It'll need a new cam belt and water pump. So, right, anyway, then onto thy costs. So the car cost me, may as well turn it off, hadn't I? The car cost me £3,000. The number plates cost me £15. The bill at the valeters was £70. The paintwork bill, as I mentioned previously, was £295. It's quite a good price, I think, that. My mechanic's bill was, let me dig this out, £518 and 2 pence. So that was oil filter, oil, front brake discs, front brake pads, rear brake discs, rear brake pads, plus the MOT test fee, plus labour. 51802. Then we've got the little clip for the parcel shelf, that was £4. The tailored mats cost me £12, and the seat repair, which was the biggest bargain of them all really, was £125. So that takes my total to, including the car, £4,039 and 2 pence. Now, if I factor in the cam belt as well, it's going to owe me about £4,400, call it 4.5 then. So if I can get anywhere near 6.5, 7 for it, then, as they say, I've swum the channel. Makes up though for all the lemons that you've seen on this channel, doesn't it? Right, well, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. I'll see you next time.